Hello everyone, my name is Max and this is Investory, your guide to the world of investments and trading. Today we will talk about the 5 most non-obvious ideas on the American stock market for November of this year. This video is not an investment recommendation and is for informational purposes only. Okay. Let's focus on these 5 stocks and talk about the secret list of stocks for November. The first stock is Amazon. The stock that will soar by as much as 12% at the opening of the main trading session today. It's up in the pre-market. Let's immediately calculate where it will open on your charts. These will naturally be here and Amazon will reach new highs. We saw such an attempt last month in September. Back then Amazon didn't succeed and Amazon experienced a 12% pullback. However, in the previous video on this channel, I showed you that the moving averages are once again turning upward and most likely this story should shoot up with the report. Friends, everything happened exactly as I told you last week, so a 12% increase. What to do next? Lock in the position or leave it? As for the weekly time frame, we haven't even come close to overheating yet. I draw your attention to the fact that cases can vary greatly depending on the time frames, and at the beginning of this year we had a weekly overheated RSI from which we got a really significant correction both in the market as a whole and in Amazon in particular. And the case at the beginning of September was not accompanied by an overheated weekly RSI. Accordingly, even with a 12% growth, even considering all the candles, last week we still will not get an overheated weekly RSI. Therefore, after updating the maximum, we can continue further to determine the target for Amazon, where we can actually go, where we can grow further. We need to construct a Fibonacci level. I would choose accordingly this trend from January 2023 to January 2025, a 2-year trend for Amazon. Let's take this segment and look, if we just build such a Fibonacci now, it definitely won't give us a target at the top, but what if we take and on this same section, on this trend, we can build a reverse Fibonacci? It will be exactly the same, we will just have a level appear at the top as well. And this level, friends, $340 per share, this is 1.618. What should we do? Let's decide. First, we need to adjust this grid a little more precisely. For example, like this, and for example, like, well, here it's generally fine. Okay, let's lock our Fibonacci on the chart. And after that, friends, we will analyze the following. We are currently here. Our stop needs to be set beyond $237. That is from the current position at $237. Next, our target, as we have already discussed, is $332. We ask ourselves, will anyone at Amazon just give us plus 30% from the current position? This is highly unlikely. So we follow the next strategy. What will happen first? Either we reach the 70th weekly RSI first, and upon touching the 70th weekly RSI somewhere around here, I think it will happen at around $300 per share. We will fully close the position in any case. Or how else can we act effectively with Amazon? We can adjust our stop for every 5 to 7%, for example, on a rise to $270 from the current level. We can move the stop to the current value around $250. Then, with an increase of another 5 to 7%, we can accordingly move the stop from $250 to $272 and so on, friends. And thus, we will secure ourselves at the best moment. Either we will secure ourselves at the final overheating, or we will take the maximum from the movement and lock in profits on the pullback. Okay. What is our next stock? Do you think this stock is related to uranium? Let's take a look at Cameco. And this asset has been growing for a long time, and there is no end in sight to this growth, actually. Yes, here we go. Let's open such a chart. In general, you can look at the uranium ETF and it will be the same story. And let's still return to Cameco. How are levels determined on such charts where there hasn't even been anything close to a Fibonacci grid in the history? Well, that is, we cannot set any resistance level from above. Yes, definitely. We act almost in a similar way to Amazon. This is the only way to set some value from above. But friends, before I place the Fibonacci here, although in fact it will not be very informative because, well, okay, our last trend was, for example, that downward one. We can set it yes and get accordingly a level from above, and this level will be at $100 and then $126 per share of Cameco, and we can understand that we should remove our stop below $100 or aim for a profit up to 126, which honestly I wouldn't count on. This is another plus 17%. I think this will be complete madness. But unlike the case with Amazon, let's focus on the fact that we already have an 80th weekly RSI, not even 70th like in Amazon, which isn't even there yet. Therefore, if I were you, I would partially lock in profits, set a stop for the remaining part of the position below $100 per share, and for the remaining part, possibly, if you want to squeeze the maximum out of it, try to do a similar ladder as in Amazon by 5-7%, and thereby the final, I would set the fixation at $126 per CCG share. Let's further examine Tesla and everything that has happened with it recently. By the way, I also analyzed Tesla shares in our previous video. You can go back, watch that analysis, which is still relevant, and also update your data on the current chart. By the way, if this video is useful to you friends, please react to this video and share a short comment on how you find this format, what should be improved and what should be added. I would greatly appreciate your feedback and reactions. They provide the energy to continue making these reviews for you. Okay, about Tesla. Look, we also have Fibonacci working here. In general, Fibonacci is probably my favorite tool in technical analysis. Here, the mark of $481 per share and 467 is our resistance. Let's pay attention to the daily, where our resistance coincided with the overbought condition on the RSI. Currently, this overbought condition is not present. And on this, on the weekly frame, moreover, we don't have this overheating. We have a value of 67 here, so there is still room to grow. And the previous time, let's see, the previous time on the weekly time frame, right at this point, there was also the weekly RSI. So obviously we went down. Currently, there is neither a weekly RSI nor a daily RSI, so I state the fact that overall Tesla can now break through 467, its resistance, and even attempt to capture above 481. If Tesla manages to do this, then guys, it could be complete madness. By the way, it coincidentally happens that according to this Fibonacci, note that the 1.618 level is $666 per share. And this is of course an interesting value. Let's see when Tesla reaches it. So guys, if there is a real breakthrough to 481 upwards, then we might expect quite significant movements. The weekly RSI will kick in fairly quickly and we can act in a cascade there as well. But don't rush to celebrate, because we still have to go through 467 and 481 up here. This, my friends, is no more and no less than 8 to 10%. It's actually neither little nor much. Therefore, let's play it safe and let's not make any purchases here right now. It's better to do this on the breakout of the levels I mentioned. Okay, and one more piece of news that concerns not only Tesla or only the stocks we are discussing today here in this video. We have a group on Telegram. The group is called Investori Global, where we focus exclusively on trading American stocks, ETFs, and other instruments. You can access this group via the link in the description of this video. So take advantage of this opportunity now. The link is active only for the next week. See you in the Investori Global group. Well, let's continue. Okay, the next stock is also related to one of the metals, right? Specifically with copper. Let's look at Freeport stock, that's FCX. Actually, unlike most stocks we review on this channel, this stock as a classic sector does not have such a vertical trend, right? And in some sense, we even have a clear, understandable range here, how we trade from $33 to $44. And in fact, attempts this year to break through this 44 resistance level have not ended in any success, right? That is, we have already had 4 actual attempts that were pushed down. Now we are going to try to do it again. I will just draw your attention to the copper ETF and we see what trend is here. Now let's look at the private issues of the company, at the private stock chart. It's as if it doesn't take this copper movement into account at all. Now the 3 moving averages, the 8th, the 21st and the quarterly 55th EMA on the daily chart will intersect at one point and attempt to go long. If that's the case, Kondronashka, considering that we don't have overheating, we can indeed try to do it. By the way, as soon as we do this, I would enter the position even now, and upon reaching the value of 44, I would move my stop. Let's break it down, shall we? Takunadon, for example, this would be a stop at $39. Upon reaching the 44 mark, I would move the stop to break even, and then upon breaking through to $46, I would move it to the first profit at 44. And then I would try to act on the breakout with broader strokes, for example, by 5%. Here, 7 would be a bit much, because after all, Freeport is a stock with a lower beta than the ones considered before. So for variety, let's add another stock to the secret portfolio for November. And this stock is actually from the medical sector. And this is LLI. There is a very interesting story here. Here we can very interestingly apply the Fibonacci. This is the Fibonacci of the trend, the big trend from March 2023 to July 2024. Yes, we see this in this section. And the Fibonacci indicates the 236th level, $806 per share. Here we have the following: the return of the Fibonacci in early October, a retest, quite a strong, interesting purchase, removal. I draw attention to the overbought condition according to the RSI, yes, the daily one. Yes, this on the weekly, naturally, we won't even have it because we are actually observing sideways movement in this stock in the year 2025. Yes, we haven't really grown here if we just held the position, so trading and technical analysis rule, that deserves a separate reaction. By the current moment, the position is quite interesting, 5% at 888 for repositioning, and the final target is another 5 to 6% under 960. Here, a complete fixation should definitely be under such a strong Fibonacci. This is the mark zero, yes, $958.75. Therefore, here 10, 11% in total can be tried to take. And also for this deal, a rather neat, interesting 6% stop is shaping up somewhere around $788 per share. Okay, friends, if this review was useful for you, please once again give a reaction, write a comment, and provide feedback on what to improve. And I remind you that you have a week to activate access to our closed group with stock analysis and deals from Investori Global. The link will be in the description of this video. Thank you very much for your attention. My name is Max. This is Investori, your guide to the world of investments and trading. Bye-bye.